Live Facebook is brought to you by Read for Growth, a platform for you to open up your life story, your career, aspiration, book, pets, music, sweet moment. Read life as an interesting book. So today, let me be that reader in your life. To learn more, please visit www.facebook.com/readforgrowth. Happy reading! As usual, I grab the newspaper and I walk into my office. Turning the page. What color my morning reading is this wonderful lady, with her socks in different color. As I read through, I realize that her hand is a magic, her brain is a magic, and her eyes is a magic. Quickly, I decided to approach her and would like to listen her life story. And today she's here with me. Hi Anne, thank you for willing to spend your time to share a little bit about your experience. I always want my guests to first answer the question and share a little bit of their reading experience. I'm just curious, as a visual designer, what is a book that you felt interested in? Mind to share with us?
Oh, I really love books. You can call me a bookworm when I was younger, I guess, when I have a bit more time in my hands. So, I first started off with a lot of mystery genres. I'm a huge fan of mystery genres like Who Murdered Who, and then they find out about it. So, books like Agatha Christie, Nancy Drew, and Harry Potter. Harry Potter is one of my favorite, actually. Actually not recently, it has been quite some time. I've been diving a lot into dystopian and sci-fi genres, and this is like, it just got into a topic where I couldn't stop talking. It's film and animation. So, I really love Edgar Allan Poe, George Orwell's Animal Farm, 1984. I think they're really thought-provoking books. Other than that, I read art books. So art book is a bit like behind the scenes for movies and films, except they're in book form. So I read Wes Anderson's Grand Budapest Hotel. I've read Ghost in the Shell, Blade Runner, Westworld, Handmaid's Tales, Her, Black Mirror. There's so many that I love. And I also love a bit of a lighthearted book. So one of my favorite cartoons of all time is Adventure Time, and they have a lot of comics, and I read almost all of them. Still reading, and I still love it. Yeah, these are my favorite books, I guess.
Why this genre? I mean, what is the interesting element that makes you excited in reading it?
Okay, like I mentioned before, there are two different kinds of genres that I love. So, one is the dystopian sci-fi genre. And what element that made me excited to read it? Well, I guess it's because it's so unique and it makes me think a lot. It's quite thought-provoking. You get to see a different side of how people think, like the characters in the book. You get to get into their thoughts and you see their thought process, and it's quite so fascinating about it, I think. And like George Orwell's Animal Farm, it's really talking about what's happening in the real world, like the order in our society and why it works a certain way. Like throughout the ages, you can have different people coming in and out, but when you think about it, the plot is almost the same. You have someone who will rise up to become the leader, and then they will gather their supporters and all. So all these makes me understand a little bit more of how we work, how humanity is, and I think that's what's so interesting to read. And then you find out a little bit more about yourself, I think. Like, how should we treat each other in the society, and what is it truly like to be human? I think that's what makes it so exciting to find out. That's so fascinating about it. I think that's the element that keeps drawing me in. You know? And then as for the slightly light-hearted one, like Wes Anderson, I guess it's because it's a different side of human behavior that I'm quite fascinated of. Is the bit of an awkwardness, the quirkiness, and then the way they behave towards each other. There's always this awkward, quirky feeling. That's what I get from Wes Anderson's books. I mean, his art books and films.
For most of the people, the dark side is actually always the hidden side. I'm actually quite surprised that when you are so brave and have that kind of courage to admit and keen to share that part with us openly. Have you tried either method to share it?
The dark side reminds me of Star Wars. Anyway, have I tried other methods to share it? Okay, well, I do actually want to be able to one day direct a film related to dystopian and sci-fi genre. I'm actually already in the process of gathering references, thinking up the plot line and the story and the characters. I just haven't. Well, I guess you can say it's in the pre-production stage. It's not in the production stage yet, but one day it'll be out, and I hope I'll be able to share it that way. The other way that I was thinking of is I do want to do a series of photographs that relates to rawness of a human being. So it's probably someone nude in a room setting with plays of light and shadow. Yeah, it's quite close to fine art, I would say. That is another way that I'm actually thinking of sharing this part that I want to produce. When I find the time to do it, I will do it, and you get to see the results.
Have you ever instilled that combination of light and dark into your photograph?
Oh, not yet. Like I mentioned before, that I wanted to do a series of photographs that involves the play of light and shadow. But I haven't had the time to do it yet because I'm so caught up with my full-time job, and I have to constantly be in this genre of cheerful and joyful, because when your clients in the food and beverages industry or in whatever products you're selling, usually you need people to buy your products. You have to be the happy version, you know? So I haven't actually had the chance to dive into yet, but it's a thought in process. It's in my idea journal, and when the time's right, I will produce it.
When I visited your website, I loved that photo of gingerbread. Can you share with us how long you have prepared to come up with that product?
Oh, thank you. So, Gingerbread Man was a photo that I took for my client during Christmas. It was to promote their gingerbread man to get some sales for it. So the idea that I came up with, it didn't take me really long, honestly, because I already have this vibe and visual thought of it in my head already, so it didn't take really long. I thought of the idea the night before, and the next day I just executed it. So what I wanted to portray in the photo was that it was a cold winter's night outside, and you're at home in a cozy setting. So you're sitting by the fireplace, warm and toasty, while wrapping up presents for your loved ones. And while doing that, you have a hot cup of cocoa for you to enjoy, and of course a delicious toasty gingerbread man by your side. Yeah, that's the idea that I thought of. So I I painted some plank of wood as my background, and I did a flat lay. So I rigged my camera up right above to get a 90-degree shot, and then the hands were mine, so I just went in and put my hands there for a human touch in it, and that's it. I composed the scene with some props, put gingerbread man there, and took the photo, and did a little editing to give a little bit warm tone in it, and that's it.
After the conversation with Anne, I start to understand the backstory of her inspiration. Where does the inspiration come from, and why she always say, I would love to do this, I would love to try that. And this is very inspiring. It might seem adventurous, but I think it's very a new approach to come up with a fresh idea. And why not give it a try? I think we can try to learn that value from her, to embrace the light and the dark, the hidden and the obvious, the good and the bad. Thanks, Anne, for teaching us for that.